Okay, today's shiur is a hemshech, continuation of yesterday's shiur. We spoke about if somebody cannot afford to give meiser geld, but there's an Indian to do it. That's as good for Ashirus. It's good for him, but he doesn't have enough. So we said you should mafrish meiser geld, put aside 10%, and some of it you give it back to your own children after 6-year-old for the schar limud, other expenses, and some of it you said you should diverse, give it to others. And this way you makayim the mitzvah of tzedakah, and then furthermore the Torah brings anoisen levonov levnoisav agdoilim shenachayavim zoynasein kedelam azchorim toil haniga abonos b'derech yeshara, to give to children that, and that the like I said the Bas Yosef, the Shach brings that over 6 years old already. It's midaraisa, you have no chiyuv. That's only midrabon, and the mele you v'chen anoisen matanas lovav u'leimoy. Yes, I skipped that today. We're going to speak a little bit about this. If the children have a need for it, the parents have a need for it, and furthermore, he said, he brings down not only you have a heter to give to your children or to your parents as tzedakah. It's not only, I have the right to give it to my children, to my parents, I'll give it to them. No, you have to give them first. They take priority. Yeah, and then he brings the Bas Yosef, the Gemara in the Ksubas Daf Nun. He says, the Gemara says of the Zapostok, Oiseh tzedakah b'chol eis. Person that does tzedakah at all time. Who could do that at all time? You give tzedakah once in a while. The Gemara says, Za'azon bonov v'noisav aktanim. If you give parnasa to your children and doing tzedakah, because if you work 8-10 hours a day and that money you support your children, all this time you work, you're doing tzedakah at all time, because that's the biggest mitzvah, first of all, to support your own, the more closer to you. So according to this, we said, so if you want to give tzedakah, you don't have enough to give out tzedakah, so put aside 10% of net profit. We're going to speak about how to calculate this in other shiurim, and then from that 10%, you could give most of it back to your own children over 6-year-old. Or if you want to support your parents, you can give it if they're needy. And mudati yoytze with stock, and some of it also was said already to give to others, not all of it, because as we're going to speak about later on today, it's good to diverse the tzedakah. Now the question would be, according to this, can somebody could afford? He is bal parnasa. He earns good money. Can you still give money the schar limud? Usually, if somebody earns good money, the schar limud goes higher too. Could he pay the schar limud lechatchila from the money you earn? Some of it, obviously, as we're going to say today, we're going to see how you diverse it. So lechoira, if this is tzedakah and adrabah, it's not just b'di'evet. If you have no choice, you can give it back to your children. No, they take priority. So if I have to give from the tzedakah to aniyah ha'ir, and I have in my own home children that I have to pay schar limud for them and other expenses, can I give lechatchila some of the money from the tzedakah to my schar limud and other inyanim? That's the question that would be today. So here is what the l'choira, according to what we just read. Yeah, it says your parents or your children take priority. So mashma tanat ben tzedakah. No, it's not b'di'evet. So according to this would be l'choira, if somebody makes good money and before he gives out tzedakah to all aniyah ir, you have to pay schar limud for his children. Is not midaraisa is not obligated after 6 years old, and definitely when they're older, they're going to yeshivas out of town. It's cost a lot of money. L'choira could give some of it from tzedakah, or we could say no, if you could afford it, give your tzedakah to aniyim, pay from your own money. You have enough money to pay your schar limud. So what's the halacha here? L'choira, I tried to find a reference for it. L'choira, it says like this. It brings over here the Bas Yosef from Hagoas Mordechai. He says like this. The Mordechai brings the Isa b'Yerushalmi. I'm surprised that they only bring Yerushalmi. The same Gemara is brought in Kiddushin, Daf Lamed Beis in the Bavli, but that's how the Mordechai brings from the Yerushalmi. Tovo me'era l'misha ma'achil es oviv meiser oni. He says, there's a whole discussion on its own, this topic, if you could give your father from tzedakah money, but I'm not going to go to this whole sugya. Just b'kitzur, the Gemara says in some cases, again, depends which opinion, how, what, you could give tzedakah to your father if he's an oni, but it says whoever does that, that he gives tzedakah to his father, tova me'era, should come a curse on him that he gives money to his father from tzedakah. When we talk about when he could afford it, why are you giving from tzedakah? You could afford it. Pay from your own money. Give the tzedakah to aniyim. So the Beis Yosef says, Yesh lilmod Dim odom oshir hifresh tzedakah. If a rich man that put aside tzedakah, meiser geld, lo yifanes oviv oni mimeno shelo tovelo me'era. So he says, don't then give parnasa to your father from the tzedakah money when you could afford to support him from your own money, because you might get a curse. So according to this lechoyer, if we're going to mashra milza, we're going to compare the cases. Something would be lechoyer. If you're a rich man, you could afford to pay schar limud for your children and buy them clothing and feed them from your own money. Why should you give them tzedakah? You might get a curse according to this. Lechoyer, that's how I would say the comparison would be. So Mamela comes out the only time I would give a heter lechoyer to give schar limud from tzedakah when somebody is poor, he cannot afford to give a lot of tzedakah. So we're telling him as a schuz, as a tzedakah, and as a segula, give tzedakah and then give most of it back, pay your schar limud. But a rich man, no, because you might get a curse. If you're a rich man, why are you paying your children or your father from tzedakah? You could give the tzedakah to a real aniyim, and you could give them from your own money.
Would the halacha change? You're paying 20% versus 10%?
Possibly, yes, because your chiyuv is only 10. You get mitzvah min amuvchar, possibly. Now, the MS is nicht as a poshut at all. L'chor has no raya, because interesting enough, why the Yerushalmi, the Babli, they only talk about giving me'era, the curse from your father. What you consider something about the children? This halacha, you give your children first. They come first, the priority, because that's a mamash aniyah ircha. They're the closest to you. They're before aniyah ircha, the bais. So why don't they say the same thing over there? Tova me'era should be a curse at somebody giving tzedakah to his children from tzedakah when he's rich. Doesn't say that. And interesting enough, we see in the Loshen of the Gemara in the Bavli. And some same time I saw in the Yerushalmi, they bring from Reb Chaim Kanevsky, he said the same thing pshat in the Yerushalmi, that because over there, zilusa la'oviv, by the father to give a rich man, and even the father is poor, and he's giving him from tzedakah, even though mitad halacha, the father comes first, but zilusa, it's a bizarre to the father. Your rich son giving you tzedakah, they cannot give it from his own. So according to this, if the whole thing is over there, you have dealing with the idea of kibud av v'em, shouldn't be zilusa, shouldn't be mezalzel in honor of your parents. Maybe that's not shaykh for the kids. I'm mezalzel in my kids. It's not shaykh. The whole idea, the whole halachas over there talks about you should not mezalzel in your parents. It's a chiyuv kibud avoim. In the children, I don't have a chiyuv natam. It's a little bit zilzel. Maybe I'm giving him from tzedakah when I could afford, but the tzedakah I'm allowed to, and they're coming first. So all I'm saying is it's nish azoy poshut. Memele, you could either rely from the inyan of the father says something I'm not allowed to give the father tzedakah. I should not give, a rich man should not give tzedakah for his children if he's rich, but pay them from his own money, pay the schar limud from his own, and give the tzedakah all of it to the anim. Or we could say no, over there the whole problem, because zilusa law, you're allowed, even a rich man is allowed to give tzedakah, the schar limud, the other expenses of the children. The one is the older one. From tzedakah, because not shaykh over there is zilusa, you mezalzel in them. There's no chiyuv kibud yolodim. Memela, you could allow to get. However, even we're going to say that, let's say you would use this heter, or maybe this lechatchila would be allowed to give the schar limud from the tzedakah money. Definitely, it should not be all of it going to the children. This concern brings in Aruch HaShulchan too. He says, if imagine ever we're going to use this heterim, I'm going to give it my anshe ha'ir, and I'm going to give it to my own family first, and I'm going to give it to my children, my father first. What going to go, the poor people that don't have relatives rich? What they're going to die from hunger? So he says you have to diverse it. Oh, now how you diverse it? It's interesting. The Maisa, there's three opinions, but I'm going to bring it to two because I believe one opinion is a print mistake. Here are the two opinions, how you would diverse it. One of them, it's Mamash Gemara Mishnah Maseches Peya. It says over there you should take, according to first opinion, you should do half and half. Give a half. Let's say you have $1,000 tzedakah, should $1,000 should the $500 should give to your own children or people that close to you. The other 5 give it to people that not so close to you. Where's the raya for it? Mishnah and Peah in Perek Ches Mishnah Vav. Hoyo matzil noitel mechza noisan mechza. So the way the most Meforshim explaining over there, if somebody had a Peah and he wanted to take it right away, this Peah to give it to other aniyim, hoyo matzil, or yes, somebody in mind, I want to give it to him. It says over there, you could do that. Usually you let the aniyim come to take it themselves, but you want to take it for somebody you have in mind. It says the way you do it, mechza and mechza. For your own relatives, you give half, the other half, give it to them. Again, the same idea, you need to diverse the tzedakah, because otherwise, what's going to do people that don't have? So the people have rich relatives going to have tzedakah. People don't have, they're going to die from hunger. That's why you do half and half. That's raya, sending by tzedakah. Even let's say you're going to use the heter, you're going to give the schar limud from the money, from the meister geld you put aside, and you could afford to pay it, but you want to use that because that's your chiyuv first, but only half of that. The other half, if you have $10,000 tzedakah to give, 5 going to go to your children, and the other 5 should go to other aniyim. Then there is another Tosefta over here that the Beis Yosef mentioned. There's a different way you could do it. That gives a little bit more leverage benefit to the giver. He says, and he brings the Tosefta. He says, the Shorel Atzel Shnei Chalokim. So he brings over there. There's one opinion in the Tosefta. You could, if you have a $10,000 tzedakah, not only you could take 50-50, you could take 2/3 to you, and the other third you could give out. Of course, you could even give more from the tzedakah fund you have to your children, 2/3. Now, again, it all depends on how much a person could afford. So all I'm saying is there's different way of doing it, but lemaisa, a person could lichoira pay his children from his meiser geld, the children that he doesn't. Let's say people support children, they're already in koilel, or like I said, older one out of town, or even after 6, according to the halacha. So you could really l'choira give it. Even you could afford from to pay them from your own money at least half or 2/3, and the other third or the other half give away to others. Obviously, if a person could afford, he should pay from himself and give more tzedakah. You could afford Baruch Hashem. But I'm saying if he wants to use that, there is such a heter to use that. Okay.